You felt it before. That quiet pull when someone walks in and says nothing. No flex, no charm, no performance. Yet every head turns. You tell yourself it's luck, but deep down you know it's something else. It's not beauty, not status. It's a frequency, an energy so still it rearranges the room. Most people chase attention like dogs chasing headlights. They talk louder, dress brighter, try harder. But the louder they get, the less anyone truly listens. Real magnetism doesn't shout, it hums. It's like the pull of the moon on the ocean. You don't see it happen, but you feel everything move. Stoic philosophy understood this long before social media did. You don't become unforgettable by seeking to be seen. You become unforgettable when your peace can't be touched. In this video, we'll uncover 15 quiet habits that make people feel your presence long before they hear your voice. Habits that reshape how you walk into a room, how you listen, how you exist among noise. And somewhere along the way, I'll hand you one rare practice, something you can test tonight, that could change how others respond to you as soon as tomorrow. So here's the question. Are you still chasing attention, or are you finally ready to let it chase you? 1. The man who doesn't rush. Some men walk in and time slows down, not because they demand it, but because they don't compete with it. You can feel it. They move slower, but every step lands with weight. They listen fully, speak rarely, and when they do, people lean in. In a world obsessed with hurry, that calm pace feels like rebellion. The slower they move, the faster everyone else starts questioning themselves. At a family dinner, when voices clash and tempers flare, he doesn't join the noise. He waits, watches, chooses his words like he's been here before. And in that still moment, people remember what dignity sounds like. The Stoics would call that ruling your motion, not frozen, not passive, just sovereign over impulse. So when you enter a room, ask yourself, are you moving with the world or making the world move around you? Because the man who doesn't rush isn't behind anyone. He's the one everyone is quietly trying to catch. 2. The discipline of letting things go. Most men don't lose their strength. They leak it, not from failure, but from over-attachment. You check your phone too often, replay old words, chase closure you'll never get. That's not loyalty, it's fear pretending to be care. Detachment isn't about turning cold, it's about keeping your fire where it belongs. I once met a sculptor who said, "The hardest part isn't carving stone, it's knowing when to stop." That's detachment. Stopping before obsession turns creation into destruction. Epictetus taught, "You are disturbed not by events, but by your judgment about them." So the next time someone pulls away, don't chase explanation. Let distance be the teacher. Try this. Write one sentence you'll no longer fight for, then burn it, delete it, or let it drift. Watch how light your chest feels when you stop defending ghosts, because freedom doesn't come from control. It comes from surrendering what was never yours to hold. If that truth hits something in you, leave one word below, release. So another man scrolling tonight remembers he can let go too. 3. Mindful indifference. Not every battle deserves your sword, yet most men fight daily wars with shadows, comments online, side eyes at work, traffic jams that steal entire evenings. You end up learning, the world moves on, and so can you. Picture a man scrolling late at night. One insult from a stranger ruins his sleep, while a stranger snores peacefully. Who really lost? That's the trap of overcaring. Mindful indifference is the cure. It doesn't mean apathy, it means precision, choosing what deserves your attention and starving the rest. Epictetus warned, when someone does you wrong, you should think, What was his impression? If it seems right to him, he is the one who suffers. The insult reveals more about them than you. So next time a jab comes your way, ask, does this even matter tomorrow? Most of the time, the answer is no. Let silence carry more weight than reaction. Most people think attraction is about adding more. In truth, it's about subtracting what drains you. Because indifference, when chosen wisely, is not weakness, it's control. Think of firewood. Not every spark deserves your logs. Some sparks burn out when ignored. The wise man saves his fire for what truly matters. You don't stop to argue with every drunk man on the street. You walk past because your journey is larger than their noise. The same applies online, at work, in your home. Indifference, when chosen, is not cold. It's the clearest form of strength. And keep listening. Later in this video, I'll share a small practice you can try tonight to prove to yourself how powerful this really is. 4. The trap of needing to be liked. Watch closely. Most men don't even know they're performing. They smile when they want to scream. They agree when they want to walk away. Not because they're kind, but because they're afraid to be disliked. The need to be liked is a quiet cage. It doesn't rattle, but it keeps you small. You decorate it with charm. You call it diplomacy. But deep down you know, you're shrinking yourself for applause that never lasts. I once knew a man who dressed sharp, said all the right things, and blended in everywhere. Everyone liked him. But when life hit hard, no one really knew him. Because you can't build real connection on constant performance. Seneca warned, you become what you admire. If you admire approval, you become its servant. But if you admire truth, you'll start walking taller, even if you walk alone. Here's a simple test. If a room full of people disagreed with your truth, would you still speak it? If not, that's not humility. It's fear wearing manners. True respect doesn't come from being liked. It comes from being felt. So tonight, ask yourself, are you adjusting to fit in, or are you standing still enough for others to adjust to you? 5. Handling criticism with calm. A harsh word feels like an arrow. The sting lands before the thought does, and most men rush to defend, argue, or fire back. But here's the truth. Criticism is only air until you decide to let it pierce your heart. Think of ocean waves crashing against a cliff. Loud, violent, endless. Yet the rock remains, while over time the waves lose force. Criticism works the same way. Noise that fades unless you absorb it. The more you explain yourself, the weaker you look. The calmer you stay, the stronger you appear. Have you ever laughed at an insult so hard the insulter looked confused? That's power too. Musonius Rufus said, if you want to improve, be content to be thought foolish. Let them talk. Their words reveal more about them than you. So the next time criticism comes, pause. Ever caught yourself? Is this wisdom I can use, or just smoke I can ignore? Because the man who chooses silence turns every insult into proof of his presence. I once wasted an hour drafting the perfect comeback to a troll online, only to delete it and laugh, realizing he'd already moved on to ruin someone else's night. 6. Holding steady when everything heats up. When life turns the temperature up, most men either boil or freeze. Few learn how to hold steady when everything around them burns hot. Pressure isn't an enemy, it's a mirror. It shows you what's still untrained inside. Picture this: a man waiting in line as someone cuts ahead. Another driver swerves and flips him off. Or a partner snaps mid-argument and his pride starts loading bullets. Every second becomes a choice: react or rise. Power isn't loud. It's that one heartbeat between impulse and action where you choose direction instead of reaction. I remember once standing at an airport counter, flight canceled, everyone shouting. One man beside me started helping others rebook instead of complaining. He didn't speak much, but everyone calmed down around him. He didn't control the situation, he regulated himself, and that changed the room. That's stoic control, not over others, but over response. Epictetus said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events." When you learn that difference, pressure stops being pressure, it becomes practice. So next time life heats up, ask yourself, is this a fire to fight or a furnace to forge me? Because the man who can stay measured in chaos isn't suppressing emotion, he's mastering temperature. And if you know someone who's been burning out lately, share this part with him. One moment of restraint can change the tone of a whole day. 7. The art of releasing the unwritten. You ever notice how pain lingers long after the moment is gone? It's not the event that holds you, it's your refusal to stop editing the story. We all want life to read like a plan, neat chapters, clear reasons, predictable endings. But life writes in drafts, and sometimes it crosses out things you thought were permanent. The sooner you trust the rewrite, the softer life becomes. I once met a man who spent years replaying the night his business collapsed. He said, "If I had just done one thing differently," but life doesn't trade in ifs, it trades in now. Control is a beautiful illusion. It keeps your hands busy so your heart won't have to trust. The Stoics knew this long before psychology named it. We don't suffer because life changes. We suffer because we demanded it not to. Seneca wrote, "He who needs everything to happen as he wishes has already chained himself." So next time plans fall apart, try this. Instead of asking, "Why me?" ask, "What now?" That question alone can turn collapse into clarity. And here's the quiet truth most men never learn. The moment you release what's not yours, life stops resisting you. It starts teaching you. Because peace isn't found in control. It's found in cooperation with reality. 8. The still power of eye contact. You can tell the difference between a man who looks at you and a man who sees you. One searches for reaction, the other simply observes like he already understands. Eye contact is a silent handshake between energies. It reveals everything you try to hide and everything you've already accepted. Most people use it like a weapon to dominate, to impress, to flirt. But real presence isn't about holding someone's gaze. It's about being there without needing to win it. I once sat across a man in a negotiation. He said almost nothing, but when he looked up, it felt like the whole room exhaled. Not intimidation, just clarity. He wasn't measuring me, he was listening with his eyes. Every word after that felt slower, more honest. That's what composure does. It slows time for everyone else. And people remember that energy long after the words fade. The Stoics believe perception shapes experience. When you see clearly, you live clearly. So the next time you talk to someone, don't aim to impress, aim to see. Notice the details, their tone, their micro movements, the truth behind their words. When you meet people this way, something shifts. They start speaking more honestly without knowing why, because being seen is rare and everyone hungers for it. You don't need to be loud to leave an impact. Just present enough that your silence speaks for both of you. If this truth hits you, drop one word below. See, so another man scrolling tonight remembers that presence begins not with words, but with vision. 9. Train your mind every day. Most men train their bodies, but few ever train the voice inside their heads. You lift weights for your arms, But when was the last time you lifted your thoughts? Your mind is the gym that never closes, and whether you train it or not, it's always working, either for you or against you. Let me show you something I once saw. I once worked beside a designer who never rushed his edits. Deadlines burned, clients panicked, but he moved with eerie calm. One day I asked, "How can you stay so patient when everyone's shouting?" He smiled and said, "If my mind shakes, I don't fix the project. I fix my focus first." And that line stayed with me, because most men try to fix the world before they fix the hand that's holding it. Every insult, every delay, every little inconvenience is a dumbbell for your attention. The heavier the situation, the stronger your discipline can become, if you choose to lift it instead of throwing it. And when your mind is steady, people feel it. You start to move through chaos like a man who already knows the ending. Not because you're lucky, but because you've practiced staying clear when others panic. Try this tonight. Before bed, replay your day. But instead of judging it, just observe it. Like watching a movie of someone you respect. You'll see where you were strong, where you slipped, and where you can rise. That's the secret. Awareness is the real workout. 10. Master the art of moving in silence. The loudest man in the room is rarely the strongest. Noise reveals direction, but silence protects it. Real strength doesn't announce itself. It arrives complete. Think of the craftsman in his workshop. He doesn't post every stroke of the blade online. He just works, day after day, unnoticed. Then one morning, the finished piece stands, polished, undeniable. That's how a Stoic builds his life. Quiet effort, loud results. It's also like an archer drawing his bow in the dark. No announcement, no warning shot, just quiet focus. And when the arrow finally flies, it's too fast, too sharp to stop. That's the power of moving in silence. Preparation hidden, impact undeniable. Epictetus warned, "First say to yourself what you would be, and then do what you have to do." Moving in silence means letting your life prove itself without begging for recognition. Here's the paradox. The less you reveal, the harder you are to predict, to stop, or to control. When you speak less, people lean in more. When you keep your path hidden, your results arrive with twice the weight. Be honest. Are you exhausting yourself talking about the man you want to be? Or are you quietly becoming him? Do you want to be the man who talks about change or the man who becomes it? 11. The quiet currency of self-respect. Respect isn't something you ask for. It's something the world senses when you no longer chase it. It begins in the smallest private choices. What you tolerate, what you repeat, what you walk away from. You can't fake it. You can polish your image, build a following, demand acknowledgement, but the eyes that matter can tell when a man's words cost less than his habits. I once knew a craftsman who worked alone in a dusty workshop. No title, no fame. But people waited weeks just to have something built by his hands. He never advertised. His work spoke weight. That's what real respect sounds like. Quiet consistency echoing louder than talk. The Stoics taught that honor isn't awarded, it's accumulated, layer by layer, decision by decision. Seneca said, "A great mind is not defined by recognition, but by restraint," meaning your dignity is what you do when no one's applauding. So next time you ask, "Why don't they respect me?" ask instead, "Would I respect myself if I were watching from the outside?" Because respect isn't built in conversations. It's built in repetition. And the day you stop needing to prove your worth, you start becoming the proof. If this truth hits something in you, leave one word below, standard, so another man scrolling tonight remembers that real worth doesn't need witnesses. 12. The gift hidden inside criticism. Most men run from criticism because they mistake it for judgment. But judgment and feedback aren't twins, they're distant cousins. Criticism is noise until you decide it's data. Handled right, it's one of life's most underrated teachers. Picture an athlete watching footage of his mistakes. Every miss hurts, but each replay sharpens his aim. That's how you grow, by dissecting the sting instead of denying it. The Stoics knew this. Epictetus taught, if you want to learn, accept being thought ignorant. Growth demands temporary humiliation. It's tuition for mastery. But here's the catch. Not all criticism deserves rent in your head. Ask 2 questions every time. 1, is this true enough to refine me? 2, is this person living what they preach? If the answer to both is no, file it under irrelevant noise and keep walking. And about that inner critic, the one that never sleeps, you don't silence him by arguing. You quiet him by acting. Action is the only language doubt understands. So next time someone questions you, thank them silently for the data, discard the poison, and return to building. Because every unfair word aimed at you is secretly sharpening your edge. 13. Own what is yours. Most of us waste our days wrestling with what isn't ours. Other people's moods, society's opinions, the weather, even luck. And while we're busy chasing ghosts, the only things we truly own sit neglected. Our thoughts, our actions, our choices. The Stoics were clear. Your mind is your kingdom, your discipline is your armor, and your actions are your legacy. Everything else is rented land. Think about this. 2 men lose their jobs on the same day. One blames the economy, his boss, the unfair world. The other takes a breath, updates his skills, and sends out applications before the night ends. Same storm, different ownership. One drowns, the other rows. Epictetus put it simply, you may fetter my leg, but not even Zeus has the power to break my will. That's ownership. No one can touch what is yours unless you hand it over. So here's a question worth asking yourself tonight. Are you guarding your own territory, or are you bleeding energy fighting over ground that never belonged to you? Because the man who owns his mind, his choices, and his conduct, he doesn't just survive, he commands. 14. How to stay emotionally steady when life tests. Life doesn't test you when you're ready. It tests you when you're tired, distracted, and one step away from breaking. That's how it measures what's real. You can tell a man's depth by how he behaves when life shakes his foundation. Anyone can appear strong when the sun is out. But when the lights go out, when plans collapse, when words cut deep, that's when your inner structure is revealed. I once watched a father at a hospital. His son was in surgery. Hours felt like years. The mother was crying, doctors pacing, but the father just sat, back straight, hands still, looking at the same spot on the floor. When the nurse finally came out and said, "He'll be okay," he didn't cheer. He simply exhaled, whispered "thank you," and walked inside. That moment taught me, steadiness isn't loud. It's the invisible backbone that keeps everyone else from falling apart. Sometimes the quietest strength isn't about enduring pain, but about giving others a place to rest their fear. When life hits, remember this. Emotions are like tides. You can't stop them, but you can learn to stand where the ground is firm, and that ground is found in awareness. Notice what's rising inside you before it spills out. Don't suppress it, observe it, like a man holding a compass steady while the world tilts. Eyes on direction, not on distraction. The Stoics never promised a painless life. They promised a powerful response. Marcus wrote, "If it's endurable, endure it. If it's beyond endurance, it will soon end." Either way, peace returns to the one who doesn't abandon himself. So next time life tests you, pause and ask, will this still matter when I've grown? Because every test you survive quietly adds to your weight. And one day, that weight becomes grace. That single question can save you from breaking character, from saying words you'll regret, from losing yourself in the very lesson meant to shape you. And if these words found you at the edge, steady yourself, hit like, and share this with someone who's barely holding on. Not as a command, but as a bridge. Because maybe tonight, you're the steady one the world quietly needs. And tomorrow, someone else might need you to be their proof that steadiness still exists. 15. The power of sincere gratitude. Most men mistake gratitude for softness. They think saying thank you makes them smaller. But gratitude, when it's real, doesn't shrink you. It grounds you. There's something magnetic about a man who appreciates quietly. He doesn't announce favors, doesn't parade generosity. He just notices and remembers. I once knew a founder whose company nearly collapsed. After his team pulled through a brutal month, he didn't give a speech. He just walked desk to desk, shook every hand, and said one sentence. I saw what you did. Thank you, no cameras, no performance, just presence. Half the team said that was the moment they decided never to quit on him. That's the paradox. The man who gives gratitude sincerely ends up receiving loyalty without asking. Because gratitude, when real, builds quiet trust, the kind that lasts longer than admiration. Seneca once wrote, "He who receives a benefit with gratitude repays the first installment of it." Meaning the moment you're truly grateful, you've already honored what's been given. Try this tonight. Think of one person you haven't thanked enough, not in words, but in truth. Send them one short message, not poetic, just honest. And then notice how you feel lighter, because gratitude doesn't just honor others, it restores you to yourself. The grateful man doesn't chase admiration, he creates it quietly. You've just walked through 15 unspoken habits that shape real attraction. Not tricks, not empty strategies, but ways of living that make you magnetic without effort. Calm, composure, steadiness, silence. These are the forces that bend the room without raising a voice. The Stoics remind us, presence is not noise. It is weight carried quietly. It is clarity guarded fiercely. And it is the calm that others feel when the world is shaking. So from today, stop chasing attention. Build steadiness. Train your mind. Let go of what was never yours. And when you do, you'll find something rare. Respect, trust, and attraction that follows you not because you demanded it, but because you became it. And now let me ask you one last question. If people will forget what you said and forget what you did, but never forget the calm you carried, what kind of presence will you choose to leave behind? And maybe tonight, as you sit in your quiet room, you'll realize you don't need to perform, to chase, to prove. You only need to carry your calm. That presence, unspoken yet undeniable, will outlast every noise. That is your legacy. The world is loud with men shouting for respect, but the rarest man is the one who carries calm so deep it unsettles the noise itself. That is the presence no one forgets. So breathe tonight, knowing you don't need to perform, to chase, to prove. You only need to carry your calm. Let it be your shield, your gift, and your quiet revolution. If this message stayed with you, join the journey. Each week, we build the kind of strength that speaks without noise,